Hello and welcome to another video. Look at what just came in the mail. I'm so excited. So originally I wasn't going to film this today. I was going to wait till I was a little bit less of a mess, but I got a little bit of bad news today and I could use the serotonin. So we're going to be opening this today. So I've gotten a couple of subscription boxes in the past. I've done Owl Crate and Fairy Loot, so I'll have those videos linked, I think, this corner. I like those subscription boxes. They have a lot of really good goodies in there. They're not really for me though. Like, I really like them. I've used a lot of the stuff I've gotten in the boxes. It's just they're geared more towards fandoms that I don't really follow. So I just wanted to try out a couple of other subscription boxes. And Once Upon a Time is a really cool one. So they give you a book and then they give you, I believe it's 3 to 5 gifts where they're wrapped up and they have page numbers on them. So when you get to the page number on the book, you open the gift and it's kind of more of an immersive reading experience. I've had my eye on this for quite a while and so I'm just excited I finally got it. So this is the February box. I'm not going to like unwrap all of them right now. I'm going to open the box, see what the book is, and then I'm going to read it and I'll film whenever I open up one of the gifts. So as soon as you open it, oh, cool. Look at all this little stuff on here. So right on top, we got this little packet. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but there's no page number on it, so I'm going to just open it. So we've got like a little bookmark here. Oh, it tells you what the book is. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so we have a little signed paper here from the author, a bookmark, a note from the author, and then just like a book club kit. Oh, we got like read along dates and discussion questions and stuff, so that's pretty cool. So here's the book. It's actually really pretty. It's pink and yellow in it. It's called The Roughest Draft by Emily Weberly and Austin Sigmund Broca. So I'll just read you the back real quick. 3 years ago, Katrina Freeling and Nathan Van Hussen were the brightest literary stars on the horizon. Their co-written book topped the bestseller list, but on the heels of their greatest success, they ended their partnership on bad terms, for reasons neither would divulge to the public. They haven't spoken since and never plan to, except they have one final book due on contract. Facing a crossroads in their personal and professional lives, they're forced to reunite. The last thing they ever thought they'd do again is hole up in a tiny Florida town where they wrote their previous book, trying to finish a new manuscript quickly and painlessly. Working through the reasons they've hated each other for in the past isn't easy, especially not while writing a romantic novel. While passion and prose push them closer together in the Florida heat, Katrina and Nathan will learn that relationships, like writing, sometimes take a few rough drafts before they get it right. Okay, so that sounds really cute. Somebody is trying to eat all of my wrapping. Somebody is trying to eat all my gifts. So we have what looks like 4 gifts in this box. We got one for page 16, page 145, page 95, and page 160. So they're pretty spaced out. Kind of excited for whatever page 16 is. Like this, it feels interesting. So I guess I'll see you on page 16. Okay, so I wasn't gonna start this book today because I'm in the middle of like 6 other books and I'm exhausted. But I was just so excited, and the first present is only on page 16. Like, it took like no time to get there, you know? Already so much has happened. There's like a whole lot of backstory that we're being told. So the first 16 pages is 2 chapters. The first chapter is told through Katrina's point of view, and the second chapter is told through Nathan's point of view. So we learned that Kat and Nathan wrote a very popular bestseller book like 5 years ago or so, and then they split up. They have not talked to each other again, and they're not writing together. Now Nathan is still trying to write books, and they're not selling well because he still has a contract to write one more book with Kat, and they're not talking, so like it's not happening. And so they're hinting at what might have happened that caused them to kind of break apart and go their separate ways. So Nathan was being very specific, saying that nothing that happened between them was romantic. And from Kat's point of view, she does not want to be recognized. She hates being asked the question of what happened, why they broke up, why they're not writing together anymore. And she almost seems to have some kind of guilt. Like, she doesn't specifically say she's guilty, but like she kind of gives off guilty vibes. But yeah, so chapter 2 ends with Nathan's agent basically saying, your career is over unless you write another book with Kat. But like, that's all that's happened. I mean, it was 16 pages, so like we got a lot of backstory. I didn't really tell you everything that happened. Obviously, I'm not gonna read the book to you. But like, let's open the gift. So, page 16. Looks like some kind of like tote, maybe? Oh, it is a tote. Oh, and there's a book in here. Okay, so in the very first chapter, Kat goes to a bookstore because she loves bookstores, she loves reading, she's an author and everything, but she's been avoiding bookstores because she doesn't want to be recognized because she's an author of a very famous bestseller book. When she goes back into the bookstore, she's talking about how everything's different, how like in the front of the store there used to be used books that she could buy, and instead now there was a bunch of Jane Austen tote bags. So this is Refraction by Nathan Van Hussen, or whatever Nathan's last name is. Oh my god, it's like an actual book. Oh, I see. So this is just a cover, but there's like a different book in here. This is Murder at Maliwan Hall by Colleen Cambridge. It's a mystery book. Oh, that's so cool. So this is the book that Nathan tries to go solo and write, and it doesn't do well because they want books written by both Nathan and Kat. It's just like a dust jacket on a paperback. That's so cool. So I don't know what this book is about. Housekeeper, an immature sleuth, discovers the body in a library in a mystery to baffle even her famous employer. So it's some kind of murder mystery, but that is so cool. Get like the Refraction book. I'm so excited. Okay, so the next thing is for, I'm pretending I didn't hear anything. This is for page 95, and I will see you at page 95.
Chloe.
So I have made it to page 134 in this book. The next present was on page 95, and I did actually already open that because it was like right in the middle of the page, in the middle of a chapter, and I didn't really want to just stop reading to make myself look cute and get in front of the camera to keep reading and then open it on camera. Like, I feel like there was some kind of disruption here, and I wanted to just keep reading. So if we go back to page 95, this is where the little gift thing is. It's right after these like two couple sentences. I sip my drink, Katrina's white flag of black coffee. Even over the scent, I can smell her hand cream. And then if you open the little gift for page 95, you have like a little coconut hand cream, and I haven't used it, but I smelled it and it smells really good. Like coconut and sweet, but not too perfumey. I'm actually allergic to a lot of scents, so I'm gonna have to sample this and see if I can even use it. So just based on where like the sentences were, like he was talking about how Katrina learned how to use a French press just to make coffee for him because she doesn't even like coffee, she's a tea drinker. And it's kind of like a whole thing about this coffee is a truce, like a little white flag, I believe is what they said. So like, I don't know, I think that a better gift idea would have been like a little single serve bag of beans or something. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm thankful. Like I'm excited for this. I really love the smell of coconut, but I just feel like it would have fit in the story a little bit better because her hand cream isn't mentioned again, or like the scent of her hand cream is mentioned. So I thought that was an interesting choice. Anyways, so page 135 is like pretty much halfway through the book, maybe a little bit less. I'm enjoying this book so much. Like, I feel like I always say that, like in the beginning, the first half, I'm enjoying a book so much, and then it's in the second half where it usually loses me. I don't think that's gonna happen with this book. So this book is about two authors, Katrina and Nathan. They don't want to work together, but the publishing house that they worked with for their last book, they're actually still in contract with them to write another book, and other extenuating circumstances push them together to write this book together. So they're in a house and they're writing it and fighting all the time, and every single conversation is layered and it's complex. There's so many scenes that mean like 30 different things, and I feel like this book is going to be a very good reread because of all the layers that go into each conversation. So because this is a romance, obviously the trope that's being shown here is enemies to lovers, but I'm also wondering if this is possibly a second chance romance. I'm not going to say if it is or not because I don't want to give any spoilers. It's possible because they keep hinting back to the past and what happened in the past, but they're also very adamant that they were never together and they never had an affair. So I'm wondering what it is that pushed them apart. I don't know. So there are 2 more gifts for this. I'm on page 134, and the next gift is page 145, and then page 160. So within the next 20 pages, I have 2 more gifts. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read the rest of the book, and I'm gonna open the gifts when I get to those pages, and then I'll just tell you about it at the end, because stopping and taking out the camera, like, it almost ruins the experience of reading this because I really am enjoying it. And I actually even considered like stopping the video and like deleting it because I'm having such a fun time and I don't want the process of turning it into a video to ruin it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the book and I will update when I finish. Sorry if you can hear birds and if the sound of birds annoys you. I have my window open because it's like 75 degrees outside, which is kind of unheard of for a March in Connecticut. Anyways, so I finished the book. I ended up giving this 4 stars, and I'm going to tell you about these last 2 gifts, and then I'll give like a little bit of a review on the book, and I have some thoughts on Once Upon a Book Club subscription box just in itself, and yeah, we'll go from there. So the first one is on page 145. So if we go back to page 145, in this scene, Nathan and Katrina are just fighting all the time and they need a break from each other. So Nathan decides to go to this like independent bookstore by the house that they're working in, and he's gonna go in and sign a bunch of copies of his book, kind of to promote sales of his like solo book. Katrina also ends up going to the bookstore because that's where she gravitates to when she needs a place to go. She loves reading. The sentence right before the sticky note says, "He leans on the step's metal railing in no hurry. I notice in his pocket the leather pouch in which he carries his signing pens." So then if you open up the little box, you have this really cute little pouch. And if you open up this cute little pouch, there are 3 pens. They all have black ink. I already tested them. But I think it's so cute. Like, what a cute way to tie in the book is have these little pens. And then for the very last gift on page 160, so for this part, Katrina and Nathan got into another argument because they argue throughout the majority of this book. And Nathan went to go for a run and he was gone for a very long time. And Katrina was starting to get worried. So she was waiting for him to come home, like waiting in the living room, and she's pretending to read a book. And he finally comes back and she just closes it without putting a bookmark in it. Kind of obvious she wasn't actually reading the book. They have a kind of like a small conversation and he leaves to go upstairs and go to bed. And the sentence right before this little sticky note says, "I shoved my bookmark carelessly into the pages of the book I wasn't reading," and then she gets up and goes to bed. And so if you open up, this one is a little bit more difficult. So this is a little bookmark that it says, "Read between the lines." It's got this like little tassel on the end, and it's an interesting texture, almost like a fake leather kind of feel with this like cord and little tassel. So thoughts on the bookmark, I don't love it. It's not really a big part in the book. Doesn't really need to be marked by a gift like this. Like, there's other things that I think would have benefited better from a gift, if that makes sense. And then in terms of quality, this is significantly lesser quality than any of the other gifts. So thoughts on the book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. I liked the layering and the conversations and how the writers could like read each other's mind, and everything was written with so much complexity. And the build up in the relationship with the small flashbacks to 4 years ago with like small reveals into what happened and how they're gonna get together. All the little details that lead up to it, I thought was very good. I think this was very well written. The problem I had was the pacing. So there were 2 climaxes in this book. So there was like 150 to maybe 200 pages. I can't remember exactly. I think there's like 200 pages before the first climax. So there's all this build up to get to this first point. And then there was about 40 to 50 pages between Climax 1 and Climax 2. And in these 50 pages, the pacing halted to pretty much a stop. I spent the most amount of time in this 50 pages than I did on like the whole rest of the book, if that makes sense. Like after that first drop happened, and I knew there had to be another drop because things weren't wrapped up yet, and it was hard to get to that point because I didn't really want to continue reading because I was just kind of bored at that point, which really sucks because the first 200 or so pages of the book was really great and really kind of like intense, but those 50 pages were not it. So my thoughts on Once Upon a Time book club. I thought that all of these gifts were really cool in and of themselves besides the bookmark. I didn't love that. However, I had some issues with what was chosen and when it was given. For example, for the tote bag and the book, that's given on page 16, which is after chapter 2. And the bag and the book and everything is mentioned on like page 2 or something. So it's almost like you're getting 14 pages until you get the book for 14 pages ago. Where the rest of these gifts were given immediately after whatever it was mentioned. So like Kat hands him a cup of coffee and he smells her hand cream, and the very next sentence we're opening up the hand cream. I'm not sure why the other one was waited so long. Maybe it's because they wanted you to actually read more of the book before you open one of the gifts. Like, I think that makes sense. Actually, I lied. It wasn't on page 2 when she has the book in the bag. That's like the last sentence of chapter 1. So for these other gifts, I thought that they were interesting, but I thought that they didn't really capture the vibes of this book. Coffee takes a big part in the book. Like, they're spending long days writing and they go to coffee shops to write, and there's a whole scene in a coffee shop that's very important to the book. Not to mention Katrina learning how to make French press coffee just for Nathan. It shows like their relationship, and it shows that she's willing to kind of put hurt feelings aside so that they can have a truce to work on their book together. And I'm just wondering why they chose hand cream that's literally only mentioned once in the entire book, and not like a coffee candle or like a small teeny bag of coffee beans or something like that. Like, I feel like that would have made more sense and fit the vibe of the book a little bit better than hand cream, especially because this box isn't specifically made for females. So to give like a coconut hand cream feels like it's geared more towards women than it would be an all-inclusive subscription box. Then for the little pouch with the pens, like, I think that was fine. I think that part of the book was kind of significant because it shows Katrina's anxiety about being published and being recognized and stuff like that, and it's kind of a hurdle that she gets over. For the bookmark, I didn't love it. I feel like it doesn't really take any part in this book at all. I think if they wanted to include a bookmark, they could have had a really cute picture on it, or like waves or the beach or like sand or something, because they also take a lot of time at the beach. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed with this one. All in all, I probably would buy another Once Upon a Time subscription box. I think that they're fun and they can be immersive with some of these gifts. It's just some of these miss the mark a little bit. That is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!